Do you want to know the truth about DoorDash from somebody who's actually worked for DoorDash? Then stick around. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, Framework Fortune. A lot of people want to know about some of the side hustles I do. I've tried several different other rideshare apps, DoorDash being one of them. So I figured I would do this video on DoorDash in particular. And then of course, if you guys subscribe to the channel and want to see more videos, then I'll do Instacart, Postmates, Shipped. Those are some of the ones that I've worked for as a little side hustle to make a little extra money. So yeah, let's get into the truth about DoorDash though. Now, they have a big claim that you can start making $18 an hour right out the gate. And while yes, you can, that's not guaranteed. See, the thing with DoorDash is they don't pay you an hourly rate. Okay? You are considered self-employed with them. They just give you the orders, and if you want to take them, you can take those orders and make that money. So what it means being self-employed with them, if you don't know, you basically do your own taxes and are responsible for reporting your own taxes, which is not a terrible thing because there's a lot of stuff that you can write off to help with that big tax return. So we'll do some things on that a little bit later, but let's get into the whole thing with DoorDash. DoorDash can be very good. You can make decent money by doing DoorDash. I've been doing it for about 6 months, and so far it's not been terrible. The pros of DoorDash, the number one pro would be it's up to you when you want to work. You don't have a boss who's telling you that you have to be there at 8 a.m. in the morning. You basically can set your own hours. Now, they do have the option to schedule yourself for certain shifts, and they have the option to dash now to where you can just jump into a dash if it's busy enough. Now, here comes the tricky part, okay? If you're just trying to do the dash nows, you're not going to be guaranteed to be able to start a shift. You basically might be waiting around those hot times like 12 o'clock for lunch, 5 o'clock for dinner start, for your app to actually light up red where you're at so you can start dashing. And a lot of times it can be very busy, and this is just my experience in my area. I'm in the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area. This is a pretty big area, ton of restaurants, so it works pretty good. A lot of the times it's very busy, so there is the option to dash now, but sometimes there just isn't. So what you can do to guarantee that you get those shifts that you want is you can schedule those shifts ahead of time. Now, there's a drawback to this as well, because there's a lot of people who have found out about DoorDash because of their promos and things like that. And so by there being that much people, okay, the demand for the schedules is pretty high. So you have to be on your phone, on the app, as soon as the schedules are released to where you can grab those hours that you want to grab. So like I said, it's not guaranteed that you're going to get the shifts you want. Now, you can make decent money. You work your own hours that you want to for the most part. But that's where it's a little tricky. You kind of have to figure out a schedule, when the schedule's released, that's going to work for you. So you can't solely rely on just jumping into a dash every single day and making money. You can try that. Maybe in your area it'll work, but from my experience, it doesn't always work. I have better outcomes when I schedule shifts ahead of time, and then if I don't have a shift scheduled, I'll jump in a dash when it gets hot enough. So pros and cons to that. You do get the availability of work your own schedule when you want to, but to get as much hours as you might need, say if you're going from a full-time job to this, then you have to be a little more strategic with it. Now, of course, if you are interested in signing up with DoorDash after this video, because there's going to be a lot more I'm going to go into, but you can sign up in the link below in the description. That is a link from me. So if you sign up with that, you will get a bonus for your first 200 deliveries. So that is nice. But anyway, let's get into the money. So, like I said, they claim 18 to 25 an hour, and this is doable. I have done it. Okay. The biggest thing is you have to get that schedule and get as much as hours as you can if you're trying to make a full paycheck every week. Now, on top of that, you have to be very selective with the orders that you take. So on the app, things will pop up, orders will pop up, and you can decide if you want to accept that order or not. But you want to look at these orders very close, okay? You want to see how many miles it is, how much that the guarantee pay is, and then how big the order is and what restaurant this order is from. Because all this is going to affect how much money you make, okay? Me, because Milwaukee's pretty tight and close in, there's lots of restaurants around, lots of housing, I try to do at least 3 orders in 1 hour, okay? So if their minimum pay, I believe, is $5. So if you do 3 orders in an hour, that's $15 minimum you will make, okay? Not including any extra tips that you could make. But you want to hit at least that $15 minimum to make it worth doing as a side hustle or even a full-time job. You know, if you're going from McDonald's making $9 an hour, $15 an hour probably sounds great for you just to ride around and give people food. And it is, okay? But like I said, you want to get that minimum 3 orders every hour. Preferably, you want to try to do 5 orders in an hour. And that's not always doable, but if you can, 5 times 5, that's 25 an hour. And I have done that before. So you want to look at the mileage. Make sure the restaurant is close to you. Make sure the delivery from the restaurant is close to you. If you get an order and the restaurant is 10 miles away from you, you got to drive 10 miles to that restaurant with traffic and everything. You know, you're talking maybe 15, 20 minutes just to get to that restaurant. Now, like I said, a restaurant's important. And you'll learn this with experience by doing it. Your first week at DoorDash is probably not going to be the greatest experience because you're going to have to learn what restaurants are fast and what areas are the best to get the most orders in. So it's a learning process. But after about a week or two, you'll have things somewhat figured out enough to where you'll be able to start making decent money with it. Okay? So back to the restaurants. You want to make sure that restaurant is fast. You want the food to be ready when you get there. If it's not, you want it to be ready within 1 or 2 minutes of being there. If you go to a restaurant, and I just had this happen the other day, I got there and they said it was going to be 20 or 30 minutes for the food. That's a headache. That kills your money for that hour because it's going to take an hour for you. It's going to take 20, 30 minutes more for you to get the food on top of the time it took to drive there and then the time delivering the food. So you'll probably look like around an hour for maybe $7 or $8. That's terrible. You can't always avoid it. Some restaurants get really, really busy and it'll happen every once in a while. That's why this video is called The Truth About DoorDashing. I'm going to be honest with you. But if you can pretty much mark out all the restaurants that you know are going to take long and only accept orders from the restaurants that you know are pretty consistent, even in the really busy times. Some of those in my area are like Chipotle, Noodles and Company, basically smaller restaurants like that. Red Lobster, no. There's probably other DoorDashers on YouTube who will tell you they want the big orders from Red Lobster and places like that. Maybe they have success with it, but from my experience in my area, Red Lobster takes a while. So anytime going there, it's going to cut into your money. Like I said, you want the fast orders. Okay, so when you've got all that, when you figured out that what restaurants are good, what areas are good, because you want to find areas that have a ton of restaurants that take DoorDash orders and that have a lot of housing around them. If you have to go 10 miles from a restaurant to a whole nother area to deliver the food, that's going to take more time. That's going to cut into your money. So that goes back to you being able to accept orders. That's one of the pros about it. You're self-employed. DoorDash cannot force you to take orders. You can accept any orders you want. You can decline any orders you want. So you have to use this type of strategy with it. Now, I've seen some dashers say that they only accept big orders from big restaurants. Well, in my experience, not that many come through. And if everybody's trying to do that, then you're going to have a hard time doing it as well. So you're better off just taking 3 to 5 of those smaller orders from faster restaurants in that hour time span. And it's doable. Like I said, I've done it. And DoorDash will give you multiple orders at a time. It seems like the longer you do it for, the more experience you get with them, the more orders they will likely give you. Like they'll give you 2 to 3 orders at a time maybe for the same restaurant. And that can help you make really good money pretty quick. Now, another con to this rideshare app is it's going to put some wear and tear on your car. Okay? You kind of have to incorporate that in, but because you're self-employed, you can write some things off. Like you'll be getting oil changes in your car quite a bit, but you can write those off on your taxes at the end of the year. Okay? But the money you do make, you have to pay your own taxes, and you can pay that quarterly, or you can wait till the end of the year and you can do all your deductions and pay it all at once. I prefer to do it that way, but if you're looking for a bigger tax return, then you can pay it throughout the year and maybe get a bigger tax return that way. So, just to prove to you guys that you can make money with DoorDash, I've got some screenshots of some of my dashes in the past, and we're going to bring those up so you can look at these. So as you can see here, April 22nd through April 28th, this was 20 dashes, 39 hours, so it's almost 40 hours, $434. Okay, that's my biggest week I've had. Now, this is back when I first started, and I was trying to see how much money you could actually make. And a lot of the tricks I've told you about, the strategy of trying to get the faster restaurants, I didn't know which restaurants were fast and which restaurants were slow. So you can look at that, though. 39 hours, $434. That's over $10 an hour. It's not the 15 to 25 that you want, but like I said, you need to know which restaurants, what areas, and how much money these orders are to really maximize your money. So that's probably off the top of my head, I would say it's probably 12 or 13 an hour, which is not terrible. I mean, it's not like it's hard work. All you're doing is going to restaurants, picking up food, and dropping the food off. It's pretty easy. So you probably work at McDonald's 39 hours and make about $300 after taxes. So you can make more doing this than your average regular job. Now, if you're like a single mom or something who needs a little side job, needs some side money, this could work out great for you too, just to make a little extra money. I don't always do this full time. Like I said, this is back when I started. I was just trying to figure it out, so I devoted some time to it. Let's go to a couple more screenshots that I pulled up. Okay, so this was this past week, and you can see 13 hours, $200. And I did figure this one up. This was 15 an hour. 13 hours, that's not that much a week to work for an extra $200. It's pretty good. It's like if you already have a full-time job and you devote 13 extra hours a week or 12, I really probably could have done this in 12 hours. But I do use other apps, so sometimes I pause DoorDash to hop onto another app to take a different order. So this usually is not quite as accurate. Like I said, it's probably an hour less, but still, for 1.5 shifts, $200 is not bad. That's pretty decent extra side money. So you can use it like this as well as a little side hustle. So let's look. I've got one more to show you. It's not that one. Okay. There we go. So, see this one. 26 hours, almost $400. That's a big difference from that other one, 39 hours and $430. So you can see I was able to maximize a little bit more. 26 hours, that's a part-time job. It's not even close to full-time. That's just a basic part-time job, and I was able to pull $400 almost that week. I mean, with cash tips, I probably pulled more than that. So, like I said, once you have things figured out, because what will happen? This is why DoorDash has a high turnover rate in employees. People will get excited. They'll be like, this is going to be great for me to make some money. They'll start their first dash. They'll get out there. They'll accept the first order that comes through. And it could be at one of those restaurants that takes forever. They might not look at the mileage, and they might have to go all the way across town. And they end up working a whole hour on one order and getting paid $5. Now, of course, anybody would hate that. Anybody would be like, that's dumb. I'm not doing this. This is stupid. DoorDash lies. It's a scam, blah, blah, blah. And like I said, it can happen. And I'd say probably 70% of Dashers have this happen right out the gate, and they just quit. So that's why you see DoorDash having all these promos. Like I said, you can sign up in the description below with my link to get a promo for your first 200 deliveries. But that's why you see them doing so many promos, because so many people get these bad hands dealt to them right out the gate, and they quit. It is what it is. But like I said, if you're starting and you're watching this video, I've already told you the key to try to get through that first week. You need to narrow down the restaurants to the ones that you know are going to be busy all the time and are going to be fast with the food, because that's the big thing. Now, a couple of other things, a couple of side notes on DoorDash and things that can be kind of annoying, at least in my area. All this is specific to my area because that's my experience. But a lot of apartments don't show up on GPS correctly. So they will take you to the apartment building complex entrance, but it won't take you to which building in the complex that apartments actually is at. And the customers have an option to write instructions in there on how to get there. So a lot of times they don't. And you end up having to find the apartment yourself. And that can kill your time too. This DoorDashing is all about speed. So you have to look at that too. And this will go with experience. You'll learn that as well, that which apartment complexes are easy to navigate and which ones are really difficult. And then you can decline those orders when they come through if you don't want to go to that difficult apartment complex. Now, to get better tips, you want to make sure everything is there in that order. Like, you want to make sure the order is right. You want to make sure there's napkins, silverware, everything like that. So that way, your customer will feel like you really took care of them. So usually while I'm waiting that minute or two on the food, I will go over and grab napkins and get all that ready so I can check the order real fast, put it all in the bag, and then hop in the car and go. So that'll help with customer tips. If they get their order and it's right, everything's perfect with it, and they've got napkins in there and silverware and condiments and all that stuff, they'll be pretty happy and you'll probably get some extra money. Okay? So you got to keep all this in mind. See, what's some other things to tell you guys about? A lot of times GPS won't tell you if there's road closures, or at least in my area. So that can be a thing too. You don't really want to dash in an area you're not familiar with, because then you're not going to know about the road closures or traffic patterns or where the police sit, which I'm not saying speed. I'm not saying speed. Don't speed. Go a normal rate, because if you get pulled over and get a speeding ticket, it is going to kill your profits for that day. So I'm just saying, you don't want to be in a traffic area where everybody's going 10 miles an hour in a 30 because police are known to sit there. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, so you can make money off of it. It's definitely a decent side hustle once you figure out how to do it the right way, how to maximize your money each hour. So that's all the things you're going to want to look at. And there's plenty of horror stories I could tell you about different things happening with different restaurants and different customers and things like that. If you subscribe to the channel, I'm sure I'll do videos on that stuff and you can see that later. But yeah, this can be a good side hustle. It really can. And if your normal job right now is not paying you that great, say you're only making 10, 11, maybe even 12 an hour, and you just don't like your job, then you could do this full time. Now, if you do this full time, I would recommend signing up for some of the other rideshare apps like Instacart, Postmates, Shipt, and I'll put those in the link in the description below, so that way if you want to check out some of those, you can sign up for those, and I will do videos on those as well. But doing multiple of these apps can really help if you're trying to do it full time, because if there's not a shift available for one day on DoorDash, well, maybe there'll be a shift available on Instacart, so you can kind of balance things out that way and make a little bit more money. So, truth about DoorDash, you can make money, but you can also waste a lot of your time if you don't know what you're doing. So keep that in mind. If you get excited and you're like, I want to go try DoorDash, I want to go make some extra money, just keep in mind when you get that first order that you're not going all the way across town to start off and work an hour and only making $5. So hopefully that helps anybody who's interested in signing up in DoorDash. I'll do more videos on DoorDash and all the other rideshare apps, like I said. And don't forget, if you want to sign up, make sure you sign up in the description below with the link. That way you can get a bonus, because if you sign up outside of this, you're not going to get any extra bonuses. Just saying. Alright guys, appreciate everybody watching. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Hit that notification bell, give it a little punch. Until next time.